human soul. The pearl even symbolizes the Blessed Mother, who is referred to as the pearl without stain. In the Gospel passage, the pearl of great price is difficult to find, but more valuable than all that we have. The thesis which I would like to propose to you today, in the present work, I have relied primarily on two 20th century theologians. In fact, these two theologians, one Eastern and one Western, but both truly Catholic, are my favorite theologians of the modern era. The first is Syromalankaratv, who was the first major Archbishop Catholicos of the Malankara Syrian Catholic Church. I principally use two articles written by the late head and father of our church. One is on the stabilization of the Antiochian rite in India, and the other is concerned with the liturgy of the Malankara Church. The second theologian upon whom I have relied for this presentation is Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger, now Pope Benedict XVI. The primary works that I've used of then Cardinal Ratzinger are the Feast of Faith and the Spirit of Liturgy. Both of these theologians, in my view, represent the finest stratum of Catholic theologians, especially in the post-Vatican II era. Their fidelity to the magisterium, their emphasis on continuity, and their ability to synthesize and articulate the truths of faith in a readily accessible manner truly set them apart from their contemporaries. I must also mention one other source to whom I'm indebted, because he's sitting here right now, and that is Sajidjan. The idea for the title of this presentation traces its origin to last summer when the title Pearl of Great Price was proposed for one of the projects we were working on. Later on, you will see one particular contribution from Sajidjan, which adds to the historical section. The idea he proposes adds a dimension to the understanding of liturgy as the pearl of great price, which I myself had not considered. So I'm indebted to Sajidjan as well. Though I have used other sources as well, I have not relied upon them as much as I have Joseph Ratzinger and Syromalankaratv. Second, a definition of liturgy. As a living reality, it is difficult at times to define liturgy. Liturgy is best understood only through participation and cannot easily be reduced to concepts or ideas or propositions. The Second Vatican Council has provided us with an apt definition of liturgy, which we will both accept and use as the foundation of our presentation today. Next slide. In number 7 of the Constitution on the Sacred Liturgy, Sacrosanctum Concilium, the Council Fathers teach, rightly then, the liturgy is considered as an exercise of the priestly office of Jesus Christ. In the liturgy, the sanctification of man is signified by signs perceptible to the senses and is effected in a way which corresponds to each of these signs. In the liturgy, the whole public worship is performed by the mystical body of Jesus Christ, that is, by the head and his members. In this presentation, emphasis is given to the understanding of liturgy as an action or work of Christ. Thus, in the liturgy, the merely human historical event is transcended over and over again and is part of the divine and human action, which is the redemption. In it, Christ is the true subject. It is the work of Christ, but in it he draws history to himself, precisely in this permanent action in which our salvation takes place. Secondly, in the particularly Malankara emphasis, liturgy is understood cosmically, that is, as embracing both heaven and earth. From your prior knowledge of Malankara liturgy, you will remember that one emphasis of the Antiochian tradition is the joining together of heaven and earth in divine worship. But because of time constraints, it is necessary to presuppose a certain familiarity with the Malankara tradition. Thus, in this presentation, we do not concern ourselves with basic elements such as names and explanations of the parts of the liturgy, or the utensils and material used in the liturgy. These have been covered several times in the past. Our focus today is on how liturgy shapes Malankara Catholic identity in North America. The central question before us today, then, is how is liturgy the pearl of great price which gives shape to and defines our Malankara Catholic identity? Liturgy gives shape to and defines our Malankara Catholic identity in 3 ways. I will briefly mention each of these 3 and then we will consider them in some detail. Next slide. First, liturgy is the focal point to which our Christian life is oriented. Second, our liturgical patrimony distinguishes us from other Christians and gives us a unique place in America. Third, liturgy as an encounter with the triune God shapes us as individuals and orients our existence. Christian life finds its basis in the Holy Qurbono and is oriented towards its celebration. The celebration of the Holy Qurbono, therefore, is the foundation of ecclesial life. Liturgy is not simply a memorial or a play, but a commemoration, an act of thanksgiving and praise to the triune God, addressed to the Father for his salvific action in his incarnate, crucified, and risen Son, through the working of the Holy Spirit. Moreover, it is an action of Christ's body, the Church, together with her head, Jesus, true God and true man. The definition and understanding of the liturgy proposed by Syromalankaratv is this: the Malankara Church understands its divine liturgy as a priestly ministry and service of the whole Church, militant, purified, and glorified, in which the totality of the saving act of God and the ensuing gift of divine life is remembered and celebrated and rendered present amidst the worshipping community of the redeemed. The reason why the liturgy, therefore, is the focal point of Christian life is simple. The experience of the risen Christ centers Christian life. The Eucharist and the celebration of the Eucharistic sacrifice constitute the center of Christian life because it is the presence of the risen Lord with the totality of his redemptive mission in his church and the world that we celebrate in the Eucharistic liturgy. Thus we can understand why the Council Fathers referred to the liturgy as source and summit. They teach, nevertheless, liturgy is a summit toward which the activity of the Church is directed, and, at the same time, it is the font from which all her power flows. This understanding has had great bearing in the very historical shaping of the Malankara Church. The reason why the people of the Malankara Church consider the imposition of the Latin liturgical traditions on them as an intervention in the Christian and church life is none other than this conviction.